few months ago, I got an email from Austin Wintory about a new project. Subject, Project Enclave. I'm working on some new cues that I'd love to feature some sort of custom guitar. What I was wondering is if we could restring one of yours with strings of all different types, including non-guitar strings. Is this possible? I'd love it if each string sounds noticeably different, so that when you play melodies and chords, individual pitches will seemingly at random have different colors and vibrancy. The entire score is being built to sound a bit like it's been assembled from a junkyard. And I think this sort of thing can get us there. What you think? Project Enclave became Eternal Strands. And Austin Wintory is the composer for this amazing score. And that was a little piece of it right there, the main theme. So I came up with 3 different things that would allow me to create this Frankenstein/prepared guitar. First thing was to change the strings. Second thing was to change the tuning. And the third thing was to add things into the strings or weave things into the strings to create kind of a prepared guitar sound. So right away I set out to try to create something like that. I quickly realized that like twine, yarn, things like that just were not going to work as guitar strings. You just can't get the tension high enough. They don't stay in tune even if you could. I do actually have a wash tub bass that I play that uses a rope, and that kind of works, but I think it works because you're really adjusting the tension, and it's a very long string and it's very low. So that, I think that helps a lot. But what we decided to do was to kind of come up with a guitar that would have different strings and then also have some treatment or some prepared guitar where we would put things in the strings to make extra noise and to make it sound extra junky, I guess you could say. I chose to use a very old Yamaha classical that I had. It's a G240 I bought it in 1979 when I was getting ready to go into music school, and I was studying classical guitar. So this was my first classical guitar. So I combined an Elixir medium gauged acoustic set with an Augustine Blue classical guitar set. The first string is an Elixir steel string, a 13 gauge, I think. Then I have an Augustine Blue B string or second string. And then the third string is a wound 26, and it's phosphor bronze from the Elixir set. Then the classical guitar set, a fourth string wound nylon string, and then another wound steel string for the fifth string, and that is a 45, I believe, gauge. And then the bottom string is from the classical set. Now I didn't name the notes because the second thing I did was to lower the strings down a whole step, because I didn't want too much tension on the bridge with these steel strings, because it was pretty tight when I tried to tune up to E. The other thing is Austin wanted it to sound a little bit like a junkyard guitar, so having it tuned down a whole step gave it a little bit deeper resonance and also made it more difficult to play in tune, which is something that he kind of likes. He doesn't want it perfect. And so I ended up tuning everything down to D standard. So that would be D, G, C, F, A, and D. So it's just, I can play a G chord, but it's really an F chord. If I play a C chord, it's really a B flat chord. So, pro tip, what I did was I took the MIDI for the guitar part and I modulated it up a whole step because I was tuned down a whole step. And why did I do that? Well, I did that so that I could just read the music as is without having to modulate or transpose in my head. What do I mean? Well, for example, if the music said E, I played it what I thought was an E, it would actually be a D. So when I modulated the music up a whole step, the music now would say F sharp, so I would play this note, and that would indeed be an E. So I kind of tricked myself into playing the correct notes without having to do any kind of transposing. That just seemed to make it a lot easier, and I didn't have to concentrate so much on the reading, and I could concentrate more on what was happening sonically with the strings. And the third thing that we did, which was the treatment to the strings. Two of the things that Austin really liked the sound of was a piece of paper weaved through the strings, and I just kind of tore off a bottom part of a chart here, and I just kind of weaved it through the, I wove it through the strings. And then this is a D string, electric D string. I think it's a 24. I don't know if you can tell the difference between a 24 and 26, but the same thing. I kind of weaved the string through the strings. And so sometimes we would do nothing, untreated. Sometimes we use paper, sometimes we'd use string, and sometimes we'd use both. And sometimes I would record everything with all four options, so he could blend them or choose which one was his favorite. I think Austin likes to do a lot of blending of sounds, and so that worked out really well. And so then he had two guitars kind of playing, and it wasn't perfect, and I think that really kind of helped create his atmosphere that he was trying to create. So let me play you some examples of this guitar in various stages of preparation. I call this preparation G. Oh gosh. So first, the untreated strings, just this set, played without any treatment at all. Next, let's listen to an example of what the guitar sounds like with paper woven through the strings. And now let's listen to what it sounds like with the steel string, that D string electric woven into the strings. And now let's listen to both those treatments on the guitar. All right, now lastly, the weirdest one was if I wove the electric string through the strings, but instead of pushing the string down to the bridge, I'm just going to do this real quick, hopefully. I brought the string up to the sound hole. So now the string was laying on top of the sound hole. So with the string here over the sound hole, as opposed to down by the bridge, it kind of removes pitch from the equation. Makes it impossible to play pitches, but it creates a really cool harmonic percussion effect. So what I did was I would play with just a normal treated guitar, and then I would double it with this guitar, and it would give it a really kind of very odd sound, very much like a machine in some ways, very junkyard-like. So basically I had 5 different tools I could use. The untreated guitar, paper at the bridge, string at the bridge, both paper and string at the bridge, and then string at the sound hole. And of course this was probably the least useful, but it was also the kind of the coolest sounding. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed playing on Austin's Eternal Strands score. He always challenges me on many levels, whether it's the playing or the sonics of it all, or trying to come up with the right instruments or the right instrument combinations. I love working with him. And this is just an example of kind of my daily routine of things I do on a daily basis for numerous composers. Anyway, I hope it was a fun video. It was certainly fun for me to make. And God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. And if you think of it, subscribe. If you like this video and you want me to do more kind of behind the scenes looks into different scores that I've worked on, I'm happy to do that. I've done a few of those. I'm happy to do more of those. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.